What's going on, everybody? Stevie here with another video. Hope everybody's doing well out there. So today I'm going to let you guys know my final decision on what cabinet I will be bringing in to my Mancave arcade to take my last spot. You guys know my situation. It was between three cabinets. Now, after really thinking this through and really kind of thinking what is the most important aspect to me at this time when it comes to my Arcade1Up collecting, I finally came up with my decision on what cabinet I'm going to put in my last spot once Frogger sells. I'm hoping it will sell soon because I have made a decision on what cabinet will take that spot. So we'll get to all that right after this. So welcome back to the channel, you guys. So I'm finally going to let you guys know what that final cabinet will be. As you guys know, it was between three cabinets. The NBA Jam 3/4 scale cabinet, which I used to own, but sold, and kind of regret it now, because I do have interest in bringing that back. NFL Blitz, which looks like a blast to play, and Marvel vs. Capcom 2, which I do have a bit of nostalgia for. But I have mentioned before that Marvel vs. Capcom 1, I didn't really play that much, but the collector in me really wants that cabinet. So when I was trying to make my decision, I did so many different things to try to help me make that decision. You know, I put out some polls that almost every single time came out 50-50 between Marvel vs. Capcom 2 and NFL Blitz. I've, talked to multiple people. I've kind of told people the situation of, what each cabinet would mean to me as far as Marvel vs. Capcom, again, being more of a collector's cab and something that I would play, but not very often. Where NFL Blitz, I have no nostalgia for, but I feel like I would play it more. And then NBA Jam is just something that I miss, and I feel like it would get a lot of play as well. So between those three cabinets, I had to really think, what is the most important thing to me now in this point of my Arcade1Up collecting? Now, at the beginning, it was nostalgia. That's what made me pick up every cabinet that I had picked up. But I did learn something through that process, and that is nostalgia doesn't always equal replayability. Sometimes you have a connection to a game, you buy it, you play it, and then after that, you kind of get it out of your system. And it doesn't mean that you don't want that cabinet anymore, because obviously, if you have nostalgia for it and you bought it, there was a reason for that, right? But as time goes on, I'm starting to realize that a lot of the cabinets that I play the most are cabinets that I don't have nostalgia for. I bought Golden Tee, one of my most played cabinets. I love that cabinet. It's a cabinet that's not only one of my most played cabinets, but when people come over, they flock to that cabinet. Big Buck Hunter is another one where I had played Big Buck Hunter, but it wasn't something that was really like something that I felt like I needed. But then as time went on, I saw how cool it was, and I gave it a chance, and now it's one of my most played cabinets as well. So that kind of brings me to my decision. Now, when trying to decide what I wanted to bring in here, the most important aspect at this time in my collecting is replayability. So that's why I had to go with NFL Blitz. After seeing gameplay, after watching the stream of the YouTube content creators that went to Chicago, see them play Blitz when they picked it up, it just really looked like a cabinet. It really feels like a cabinet that's going to be another Golden Tee and another Big Buck Hunter to me. It's going to be something that's going to get played a lot from me, my family, and friends. Marvel vs. Capcom 2 is something that, as a collector, I see the importance in it, and it was something I really wanted. But can you spend, here in Canada, $7.99 after tax and shipping, it's coming to about $1,000. Would you guys spend $1,000 on something that would kind of just be a showpiece in your arcade, something that would just sit there for the most part. You might play it a handful of times, but for the most part, it's just going to kind of be a showpiece. For me personally, I'm just not at a point in my life where I'm willing to spend money on something that's just going to kind of sit there. Um, I've just done that too many times with certain cabinets, and I've just gotten to the point where it's about I'm buying these to play. That's the fun of it, right? And I am noticing that a lot of these bar arcade machines, and I guess a lot of the 80s score chasers, seem to be the two most played cabinets for me. I just really enjoy the 80s score chasers because those are the classics, and they're something that you can play for as much time as you want. You can play it for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. You kind of call it quits when you want. But you know, that whole score chasing thing is so much fun. I just love it. So those have really become games that I really enjoy playing. But the other ones are more the bar games and the sports games, because again, they're things that you can play with your family and friends. They're really fun to play. But I also find that I play them by myself, and I get just as much joy from playing them by myself. And now that some of these are Wi-Fi enabled, now you can still play with people even though you don't have people here. So that's why I decided that NFL Blitz is going to be the cabinet that I'm going to go for as my final cabinet. Now, when I say it's my final cabinet, I've had people say, oh, you know, you can't say you'll never buy another 1-Up again. I'm not saying I'll never buy another 1-Up cabinet again. I'm basically saying that once Frogger sells and that takes that spot, NFL Blitz takes that spot, sorry, there's really nothing I'm willing to part with. I have everything that I want down here. So when you get to a point where there's nothing you're really willing to part with, it has to be something that you're really like 100% I need to have that to be able to make a hard decision of parting with something that you technically wouldn't have parted with to bring something in. I kind of already told you some of those cabinets that would do that for me. I did say I'm willing to update my Golden Tee if they make another 3/4 scale cabinet. That one's obviously going to be easy because it's a Golden Tee for a Golden Tee. But I mentioned Donkey Kong. If Donkey Kong comes out, I'm going to have to make a tough decision and part with something. Chances are it might be my Pac-Man cabinet, which I do not want to part with. But when you have the class of 81 that has basically every game that the Pac-Man cabinet has, I mean, there's 6 games that aren't on the class of 81, but I do have Pac-Man on my 60-1. Something's going to have to go. So unfortunately, it might be that. But I don't want to part with that. And then I would be interested. This is kind of the messed up thing. I would be interested in a sports station cabinet, which, as you guys know, it's half NFL Blitz 2000, half NBA Jam. Is it Hang Time? I think it's Hang Time. I'd be interested in that. But if I get the Blitz cabinet, obviously that would be what I would have to sell to get that. You know, it's a strange kind of thing, but obviously with not being able to bring the 3/4 scale NBA Jam back into my arcade, that would be my way of getting both. So I don't think that will ever happen, and I kind of hope it doesn't happen because I'm literally going to be buying this cabinet. I don't really want to be thinking about the fact that I might sell it to bring something else in, but realistically, that is a cabinet I would be interested in, so time will tell. I'm also interested in Sega Spider-Man, and I might, if they ever did come out with that cabinet, and depending on what games are on the Sega Spider-Man cabinet, I might even part with X-Men for that cabinet because it would be a 4-player for a 4-player. But again, I don't technically want to part with X-Men. So that's what I mean where I might just have to call it quits because every decision that I'm making, I'm going to end up basically upset in some form because I'm losing something I really don't want to lose. So anyways, as you guys can tell, it's getting to the point where it's a little complicated with the whole Arcade1Up situation, but I do know if I do have Blitz down here, it would be a cabinet that would get played a lot, and I would just have a blast with it. So that's why I made that decision, and that's why I'm not picking up the NBA Jam 3/4. I'm just going to stick it out with my Countercade. And Marvel vs. Capcom 2, unfortunately, does not have a space down here. But again, if I were to give it a space down here, it would just basically be a showpiece. And I just can't spend $1,000 on something that's just going to just be in a corner somewhere. So yeah, so that's the situation. NFL Blitz will be coming to the Mancave Arcade. Take care, you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Have a fantastic day, and be safe out there.